I'll just say it's very far away where not many people live, and it's outside of the major cities that we have. We'll say that. Okay. Uh, AAU is even further, and it's kind of in the same places. Is that what I'm trying to say? USATF? No, AAU is farther away. USATF is more in this area, um, more central located, depending on where you live. Anyway, okay, there's two different divisions, two different sections. Um, AAU is bigger from like Texas over heading in the eastern direction, and then USATF is more big or bigger on this side, this region of the United States. That's kind of that. Okay, so there's the Junior Olympics. Okay, there's AAU Junior Olympics and there's USATF Junior Olympics. Junior Olympics means it's basically like a tournament, right? So it's very hard to qualify into the Junior Olympic Championships because of this specific thing. USATF has a process where you go to your association championships. So to put that in simple terms, it's kind of like league. If you have a high school league, you have a league championships. That's all the schools in the area, right? So in our region, we have four different four different associations in our region. So specifically for us, we're in the Southern California Association. So all the teams in this association will come together and they have a competition. And from there, the top eight athletes will then advance to regionals. Regionals for us is we're region 15. That means that we have Nevada, we have San Diego, Los Angeles, and we have Hawaii that all come together and we compete. And then from there, the top five athletes out of that regional competition will then advance to nationals. This is the Junior Olympic Nationals. So the same exact process for AAU. I don't think I have to explain it again. It's the same process, right? And they have their nationals. USATF nationals for Junior Olympic is typically late June. AAU nationals, Junior Olympic nationals, it's typically at the end of or in August sometime. It's super late. Anyway, so I'm saying all this because the competition, let me get on my face. There we go. Because the competition is a lot more challenging, right? There are athletes that will place, say, ninth in our region, but be ranked top 20 in the nation just because of the demographics and where we're at. So it's very challenging to compete at a very high level here because you might not advance, right? Other states will send athletes that wouldn't even make the final at all, that wouldn't even make the final for our regular track meets here in Southern California. However, they get the experience to qualify. So the Junior Olympic tournament is very challenging, is very hard to make. And on top of that, a simple side note is you don't know if you're going to make nationals for Junior Olympic until you physically qualify. So you can't like already reserve your hotel. You can't do all those things because you don't know if you're going to qualify or not. You might be the best in the nation, go to our regionals, perform poorly, and not make it to nationals. That's the reality behind it. So it's very similar to the Olympic qualifying ways. You have to be good at a certain time, at a certain day, and make sure you're advancing through the rounds. Okay. All right. Going back to the next part. Now we have youth nationals. So the question that was specifically asked that sparked this conversation was, youth nationals. Which one should I do? USATF has a youth nationals, and it's usually East Coast. It's in New York most of the time. This meet doesn't require anything other than hitting a qualifying mark. Now, you go to the meet. Let's say you're a long jumper and you jump 12 feet. And that's the qualifying mark for the 11, 12-year-old long jump minimum standard to compete at the youth nationals. Well, then you compete and you can win a national championship because you'll be a youth national championship award recipient, right? AAU has the exact same thing. They even break it down even smaller. They have a primary nationals, primary meaning, I believe it's 8 and under, like the babies that are competing. They have their own individual meet, which actually makes the meet flow smoother because it's less people overall. Versus the youth nationals, it's literally from youth all the way to the high school age. Now, from there, this meet, yes, if you're a national champion, you still get this reward. However, it's not as prestigious as the Junior Olympic National is simply because of qualifying into it. So it's just separate. It's not really a true nationals. It's just a meet that has athletes from all over the nation, right? Versus the tournament, the Junior Olympic, it's more of a true nationals because you have everyone funneling into that. But then you could argue and say, well, there's the USATF National Award winners. Then you have the AAU. Like which one's which? They're both equivalent. It just kind of comes down to there's a West Coast National, right? Even though this year it's in Texas, so and many times it's in Florida. So it just really just depends, right? I really feel that AAU does a great job with marketing. I feel like the overall experience is better. However, there are certain caveats such as you can't use blocks for certain things. That take that back. That's New Balance. So I won't even cover that because I'm going to confuse myself because even now it's confusing. But again, there's two, and the difference between USATF nationals, youth nationals. See, I'm confusing myself, right? That's how confusing it is. I'm going to stop there because I feel like I'm confusing myself. But what I will say is youth nationals is a meet where you qualify into and then you compete. They have that for AAU and USATF. Okay, next is the showcase. Okay, showcase nationals. Showcase nationals are more of literally that's kind of it. Showcase nationals. Showcase nationals would be Nike nationals, New Balance nationals, Brooks nationals, Adidas. They all have their and New Balance. If I didn't say that yet, they all have their nationals. There's no real difference. I will say that I like to go to New Balance Nationals outdoors because of the experience. I truly feel that New Balance puts more money into making the event a specific event towards their brand. Here's what I mean. We went to New Balance Nationals and I had a fun time. This was back in 2019. Then we went to New Balance Indoor Nationals, I believe that same year. And it was like amazing. It was fun, right? The kids loved the backpacks. I felt like I was in the New Balance arena, not the Armory. It was the Armory, but everything branding was New Balance. And then the next year we went back to the Armory, but they changed it from New Balance to Nike. And Nike didn't really have any branding there, right? It seemed like we were in the Armory and it was a track meet. That's kind of what it felt like. So the experience that we had for the athletes was the exact same. It was still the same type of fun, same type of competition. However, the difference was it didn't feel like we were in the Nike championships. It felt like we were in the Armory, right? And then from there, the reason why I had more of my athletes go to Nike was because the standards were a lot lower than New Balance. So New Balance had a very competitive qualifying standard. And because I wanted more athletes to qualify and get the experience of a showcase nationals, I sent kids to Nike. And on top of that, that very first year, they allowed middle schoolers to compete at the Nike Invitational or the Nike Showcase Nationals. So I was like, well, if I can add in the younger ones, I'd rather go there and do that. So I opted in to have the athletes get more athletes get the experience than the elite athletes just get more elite level experience. Since then, New Balance has added in a middle school section. So now it's going back on, okay, do I want to stick with everyone going or do I want to stick with having the athletes have to have elite marks and still get experience? I prefer having the elite marks. However, indoors, we still prefer to go to New Balance. I keep confusing myself. I still prefer to go to Nike indoors and New Balance outdoors, But this year we went to, I feel like I'm just rambling, but if you follow what I'm saying, like, applaud to you. Okay. This year we went to Nike only because U20 was there, and I had athletes that had qualified for U20, and the athletes who didn't qualify were already going to be in the same venue because U20 and Nike were in the same venue during the same meet, right? But they ended up changing the marks to a higher mark. And the athletes that did qualify didn't qualify because the market changed. Okay, so now you might be saying, well, what's U20? All right, so USA Track and Field has team trials, like an actual like team that qualifies to represent United States, like the Olympics. There's U23, there's U20, U18, and also U16. Then there's the senior nationals, which is all the pros you see, right? There's a masters, which is, I believe, 30 years and older. Then you have your senior nationals, which is all the pros you see, the regular Olympics. Then you have your U23, which we don't usually do for United States, which is a whole nother video itself. Then we have U20, which is typically freshmen in college and high schoolers, the elite level high schoolers. Then you have U18, which I don't really see too much of. U16, which I haven't heard that much of since Tara Davis has done it. And I believe that's the youngest. So those age groups actually have teams where they have athletes compete for it. Then they qualify and they represent United States at these world championships. So international stuff. That's not included in this video, even though I just said it, but it is. Okay. All right. So what else? Is that it? Showcase Nationals, the last one. Okay. So those are all the different types of nationals. What I'll say is this. The last video I posted, horrible sound quality, I apologize for that, was about go to nationals. Well, what does that mean, right? Each year, you as a parent or a coach or an athlete should focus on what's the overall goal for this year. And I believe that each year should be based on experience. If you're looking to go, let's say, pro to the Olympics, that'd be your goal and you're 10 years old right now. Then it will be how many national championships can I get to? How many can I compete in? Right. So if you're 10 years old, I would say that's 8 years, right? At least 8 years that you have a chance to compete at nationals and multiple nationals. So you could go to indoor, you can go to outdoor. I would say go to the youth nationals if you don't have a chance to qualify for the JOs. I prefer you qualify into the JO Olympics versus anything to get experience for the JO as in Junior Olympic, the JO qualifiers, whether it's USATF or AAU, it doesn't matter. I would say you want to go to a showcase nationals to gain experience. So if you were to do the indoor nationals of Nike or New Balance or whatever to get experience, that's great. If you don't qualify into the showcase nationals, then you can always just travel and go to a meet. You can always travel and go to Ocean Breeze, youth meets, because you don't have to have this big qualifying standard. But if you do qualify for a national showcase, great, go to those. If you're younger, then go to the ones that offer middle school sections. If you're of high school age, then you're trying to qualify into the qualifying rounds of the showcase meets. I feel like I'm confusing you. Am I confusing you? I really do. Because there's so many layers to it. Okay. The overall goal is to get most experience as possible. Choose a nationals and go to a national event. The best one to go to is going to be the most competitive one. So if you're a youth, try to get to the Junior Olympic Nationals. If you're in high school, try to get to the Junior Olympic Nationals or try to get to a championship round such as New Balance or Nike. Get to the championship rounds. Once you're past those and you have done those things, then go to the U20, whether it's U20, U18, try to qualify into those because if you make those and you're the best there, then you're going to represent United States. That gives you the most experience because now you've gone through processing, you've gone through the travel piece, international, etc. Once you have that set, then you want to go for the Olympics because you've experienced all the nationals, you've experienced international competition. So now when you get to the trials, you know what's coming next, which is the Olympics. Hopefully that makes sense. So go to as many nationals as possible, like in the last video, and gain experience. If you still have questions, because if this made it worse for you, then maybe I do a real video with like visuals and graphics and all that stuff. But yeah, good luck.